Okay, welcome to the Let's Talk About series. This particular one, we're going to go over the basic components of your computer and what's inside your computer. Like I mentioned before, at the community college, we teach PC maintenance and we teach the methods of how to repair machines. All this lecture is going to cover are the basic components inside your machine in a generalization of what they are on it. At the conclusion of this video, there will be a link you can go to where you can download the PowerPoint presentation that I have and also a small lesson plan that you can actually use and try out with your students. Future videos will have more detail about each component you're going to see now, but this is just like I said, a quick overview of the parts. So the first thing you want to do is anytime you work on any computer, you want to have some kind of, I guess, anti-static mat. When you are working with computers, your enemy is going to be static, so make sure you have it one that you can also ground to a piece of metal or to anything that you can do like that. These you can get as a mat or you can get a wrist wrap. Within our PC maintenance class, they all come with a kit. In each kit, we have has all the parts you need for it. And then in this particular kit, the first item we have is called the motherboard. This is the actual nerve center, and you use this to connect all the devices of your computer. You plug in your RAM here, your power. These are your hard drive SATA ports. This block here in the middle is called your CPU, or the brain of this computer system. This is what actually runs your computer, all your programs that you run. And this thing on top here is called a heat sink, and this keeps your processor from melting pretty much on that. The back side here, we have all the different types of ports: printer port, mouse port, USB ports, audio, video, all that kind of thing. On all your motherboards, everything will vary, but the overall generic parts will be on here: RAM slots, processor, and ports. So just be aware that yours might not be exactly like this, but it's going to have the same type of terminology with it. And this is also like an anti-static mat or a bag, so it protects the actual motherboard from any static problems that has. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is going to be the power supply. This is your power supply that you have on your computer. It has a 115 and also the European standard power. Make sure that this is always cleaned out, clean, and power on and off. It has all the various cable connections that we will cover at a later time for your power, your SATA, your hard drive. Anything in your computer that requires power comes off this unit here. One big issue that you want to be careful of is if you have a bad power supply or a power supply that could be going out, it could look like a virus on your computer because it's not getting enough power to actually run the devices quickly. So we cover this quite heavily within our classes. And also to make sure you have the correct voltage that you need, to actually run all the items that are on there. Okay, the next item we have are your hard drives. The hard drive is basically the filing cabinet of your computer. This is where all your programs are stored, and it crashes. Typically, your hard drive will crash, which means you lose your information on it. But this right here is your regular standard hard drive. It's just this is a 500 gig drive. It has your little SATA port connections, one for power, one for data. The easiest way, you can't mess up the cabling on this because they all come with like little L-shaped plugs, so you cannot plug them in backward. So don't worry about that. This one right here is actually one that has platters built inside of it, which means that they actually spin physically in this little read-write head that actually writes on the platter itself. The space between the platter and the read-write head is actually less than one human hair. So if you were to pull out one of your hairs, that's how close it is to the platter. That's the reason why when your machine's on, you do not want to jostle it or move it because it will make it crash or crash it totally to where you can't use it at all. What a lot of people are getting involved with now are these newer hard drives, and these are called solid state drives. And these are actually just like your memory stick, but it's a hard drive. And it has exact same kind of plugs. You can get them for your laptop, your notebook, your home machine. And they are pretty reasonable price on them, and they're very fast. So that's one advantage of them. What's coming out nowadays is they have something called a hybrid drive, which is a combination of these two put together. So that way you have the speed of the solid state, but then you have the space of an actual physical hard drive on it. So you'll see a lot more of those coming out as well. The next major component of your machine, which you probably won't see that much anymore, is your DVD drive or your CD drive or your burner. There's a lot of computers that aren't coming out with this particular unit, but if you do have one, it's got the exact same plugs like the hard drive in the back, and you power it on, it pops out the drawer. The one thing that people do not realize is quite often I will forget my actual disk inside the unit. What you can do is you can turn the machine on and you can pop the drawer out, or if you have a paper clip, you can just push it in this hole and it will actually pop out the drawer manually. That way you can do it. So if you ever notice on any DVD player you have, you always have that little hole right there. You can just pop it out by just plugging in a paper clip, and that will help with the drive out there. So you probably won't be seeing this as often, but they are handy to have anyways. Then we're coming down into the actual parts of the machine. These are the cables, like I mentioned before. These are SATA cables. They come in all different colors, and like I mentioned before, they also come to where you can only plug it in one way, so you don't have to worry about it plugging it in backwards because it has an L shape on it. So it will only plug in one way on the board or on the unit here. Then in here we have your RAM stick. This is what your computer uses whenever you run a program. It will run it, and this is plugged onto here. Typically, if you have to actually upgrade something, it will be your RAM. So you want to make sure you know what type of RAM you have, what speed it is, what size it is, because they will vary. You just can't go in and buy one off the shelf without knowing what it is. And then the final thing we have is we have what you can buy if you want to, is you can buy what are called expansion card slots. And these are, if you want to have more USB 3.0s, you can plug them into the motherboard on here. If you want faster video, or if you play video games, you would want to buy one that would plug in here on the video. So these are just in case you want to buy newer technologies that's out there. There are boards that are coming with very limited amounts of these, so if you do plan on doing video editing, gaming, or anything that requires a lot more power, you may want to make sure you have enough expansion card slots that you would plug these into, and then that would be on the back of your computer, on the back of your case on that. So those are pretty much the basic components of your system. Like I said, you have power supply, you have the motherboard, the hard drive, the CD drive, and expansion cards, and the cables that go with it. All you see here is what makes up your computer that you have on your desk right now, and that's it for the basis of computing. Thank you so much. And like I mentioned before, there is a PowerPoint presentation that you can download, and there's also a small, I guess, a lesson plan that you can do if you want to actually use this for your class or for yourself to practice with. So thank you much.